How do you get this thing moving? Do you oppose fines? Do you suggest maybe even, as some have said, jail time?
Handcuff the individual who is declining to testify. Who are you going to handcuff? Well, I'm going to start with Mr. Barr.
Should he go to jail for it?
There's a process.
Do you actually believe that the attorney that your committee is going to order the Attorney General of the United States to be arrested by the Sergeant of Arms and put in jail?
He can either be held there to testify, or he can be punished.
You don't want to throw the AG in cuffs, though, right?
I don't want to throw him in jail, but I'm ready to do so.
Each chamber has an inherent power to compel a witness to testify, and that includes arrest, and even includes jail.
You have to have him sit for a hearing, and I think you have to have him locked up.
They can either go to court and litigate, or they can use what you're calling the inherent contempt power, which means that they would actually arrest or lock up the cabinet official.
And it leaves us no other alternative except to use our sergeant at arms and to bring him in.
I think it's disgraceful. Last week, when the Attorney General refused to show up for this committee's kangaroo court, the majority set up an empty chair, ate chicken, and pretty much made a mockery of this committee. It's worth noting that Attorney General did appear before the Senate Judiciary Committee the day before he was scheduled to come here, where the unreasonable demand that he be queried by staff attorneys was not made. Senators did the questioning themselves, as is normal, and the same should have been the case here instead of Chickengate.
He had all of the elements to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they conspired together. There's a big difference between not having connections and having guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Then Mr. Trump gets on the telephone with Mr. Putin and has a 90-minute conversation or something like that, where he can see on a phone call that he smiled at him.
For what purpose is the gentleman from Ohio seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman, I move to strike the last word.
Gentleman is recognized. What purpose is the gentlelady from Texas seek recognition?
Strike the last word.
Strike the last word.
Strike the last word.
Strike the last word.
I move to strike the last word.
Gentleman, strike the last word.
I move to strike the last word.
The gentleman from Florida. What purpose is the gentleman from Florida recognized? Move to seek recognition.
Move to strike the last word, Mr. Chairman.
Strike the last word.
Strike the last word.
Strike the last word.
Strike the last word. Move to strike the last word. I move to strike the last word.
Move to strike the last word.
I move to strike the last word.
Move to strike the last word.
Move to strike the last word.
Say the last word.
Strike the last word.
Move to strike the last word.
Strike the last word.
How can we impeach if we don't get the documents? How can we impeach if we don't get the documents? Ladies and gentlemen, this hearing is not about the Attorney General. It's not about the Mueller report, 92% of which everyone in America has had the opportunity to read. It's not about the fact that even the portions that the American people haven't been able to read, the chairman's been able to go read had he chosen. This is all about impeaching the president.